I know I'm a little bit late on this topic, but we're covering it anyways because there's nothing I love more than conservatives throwing hissy fits over Disney movies. Hey cuties, and welcome back to my channel for another video. If you want to join the cuties fam, all you gotta do is hit that subscribe button, the like button, and the little bell icon to get notified when I make new videos. All my socials will be linked down below, including my Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Cameo, Patreon, Discord, my podcast, my PO box if you guys want to send me things. Everything that you can support me on will all be linked down below. Before we jump into this video, I want to give a big shout out to all of my patrons. You guys keep this channel running and I love you so much. Thank you for all your love and support. Anyways, let's get into the video. So today we're going to be talking about the real snowflakes of the internet. Conservatives. Like, have you ever seen someone lose their minds over the skin color of a fictional mermaid? Neither have I. Until now. So about 2 weeks ago, the first trailer was revealed for the new live action Disney movie of The Little Mermaid. As Disney does, they take the old famous animated movies and they turn them into real people or live action movies. And although a lot of people have gripes with them doing this because a lot of the time they're butchered or, you know, just like not made well. Despite what people think, I actually think if it was done right, it'd be really, really cool to have like your favorite animated Disney movie or fairy tale kind of brought to life. And I think some of them were done really well. Some of them were like subpar. But even though some of them have fallen short of perfection, I think it's really fun for a lot of people, especially kids, to be able to have that option of the live action of their favorite Disney movies. Now, personally for me, The Little Mermaid was my favorite movie growing up. I've always had an obsession with mermaids, from The Little Mermaid to H2O, Just Add Water, and everything in between. Something about mermaids and Ariel just like always captivated me. Also, the story of The Little Mermaid is basically about unrequited love, and if that ain't the story of my life, sweetie. Anyways, since the trailer hit the internet, it has been going absolutely viral for many different reasons. Some good, some bad. Pretty sure the trailer got like 1.5 million dislikes. I don't know what it's at now, but that's what it was like when people could still see the dislikes. I don't know if you still can. It was at like 1.5 million dislikes and 400,000 likes. So you could see that a lot of people had an issue with the live action movie. Now, the first I heard about it was a bunch of videos going around of little black girls watching the trailer, and when they excitedly realized that the Little Mermaid had the same skin color as them and looked like them and had braids, or I think she has dreads, like them, they were so excited, they were ecstatic, they were crying, they were happy, and I think it left all of us thinking like, wow, representation really does matter. Well, not all of us. Now, the only thing different about this movie that we can tell so far from the trailer is that the skin color of the mermaid is different. Now, personally, I have absolutely no issue with that. I think Halle Bailey is incredibly beautiful, like drop dead stunning. And I think she has a beautiful voice and probably does an amazing job as Ariel. Like, what else could you really ask for from an actor? She's like perfect. What's crazy to me is seeing all of these grown white conservatives throwing a hissy fit about double standards in media and about the skin color of a fictional mermaid in a Disney film. Like, when did you guys ever care about Disney? I've never seen grown adults care so much about a Disney princess in my entire life. In my entire life. Like, for once in your life, your skin color isn't being represented in media and in film, and you're throwing a goddamn grown adult hissy fit. Really? Like, give me a break. How can you look at those videos of little black girls being ecstatic over having someone that looks like them in a movie and you still have something to complain about with it? Like, I was overjoyed when I saw those videos. They made me so happy. And I just can't imagine like seeing that and being like, actually, I got a problem with this. I think the trailer is currently at like 22 million views, and on Twitter it was trending hashtag not my Ariel. The only difference is the skin color. It's like weird, guys. It's like, it's giving racism. It's giving racist. I swear to God, if you drew a Venn diagram between the people who don't like Black Ariel and the people who say like white lives matter, it would just be one circle. It would just be the same people, because I swear to God, like anyone who is like complaining about Ariel being black in a serious way, like saying, I'm not letting my kids watch this movie because Ariel's black. You're a White Lives Matter motherfucker. I already know it. I already pegged you. I found you. You thought you could hide from me, but no, you can't. I already know. You're a white supremacist. You're truly a white supremacist. Like, truly never seen so many grown adults pretending they care about a Disney princess. Of course, I watched the famous Matt Walsh, who everyone is complaining about his takes on this. And so Matt Walsh also works under the Daily Wire. So he basically like works under a severe right-wing conservative outlet. And so Matt Walsh was making a bunch of points. Were they good points? Absolutely not. Were they intelligent points? Not even slightly. But he was basically saying at one point that like, oh, the left, they, you can't even make one criticism about the movie without being called a racist immediately.
That the very same media, which complains bitterly about whites in traditionally non-white roles, and the very same leftists who treat the whitening of non-white characters as literal genocide, and all the people who've taken this issue so seriously as to cause many white Hollywood actors to drop out of films and fall to their knees in apology, would all this week be so excited about the release of the first trailer for Disney's upcoming Little Mermaid live-action copy and paste job? Now, everything is mostly the same in the remake, as always. It's like shot for shot, exactly the same, except that the Little Mermaid herself, a pale redhead in the cartoon version, has been recast as a black woman, though still with red hair somehow. This is part of a growing trend. As the anger about whitewashing increases, so in equal proportion does the demand for what we must in the reverse call blackwashing. All of these things would be called, as less egregious examples have been called, black erasure. So does that not mean, by their own categorization, that the reverse is white erasure? And if they can complain about black erasure, then why can't we complain about white erasure? Any kind of erasure on racial grounds sounds bad to me. Well, no, they say. It's different in the reverse. It's just different. When a black actor plays a traditionally white role, portraying either a fictional character or a historical figure, the media, the left, and Hollywood itself will celebrate the move as pioneering and courageous and important, along with all the other requisite superlatives. The other guarantee is that any criticism of the casting decision, even and especially criticism that simply adopts the same logic as the left applies to so-called whitewashing, will be slammed as racist. The Daily Beast today has an article documenting what it calls the racist backlash to the Black Little Mermaid, declaring this backlash to be out of control. The racism is out of control, they say. That's the third guarantee, that when a film casts a black actor in a white role, any criticism of the film, any criticism, even criticism that makes no mention of race, is racist. And
I actually don't agree with that, because I think you can make honest criticism of the movie. I think you can look at it and say, this seems like kind of forced diversity. Although I think it's wonderful that little black girls will get to see a black character on their screen as Ariel when they grew up watching Ariel, and it's probably a super wonderful thing for them and super great to have that representation. Just because there is forced diversity doesn't mean that representation goes unnoticed, or doesn't mean it's not a positive thing. I do think Disney likes to profit off forced diversity and exploits those things. I don't think all commentary against the Little Mermaid movie is inherently racist. There are fair comments to be made about, obviously forced diversity and the fact that Disney just doesn't make original black princesses or black characters. They stopped after Tiana. They have one original film where they have a black character. And it's you could easily use your creative brains and write more original princesses and more original black characters instead of just throwing a minority into an already made movie. You know what I mean? I think there's fair commentary in that. Do I think making Ariel black is wrong or reverse racist or whatever? Absolutely not. I think the skin color of Ariel literally has no bearing on the story or the impact of The Little Mermaid at all. So that's why I don't think changing the skin color of that character is an issue, because nothing about the character is based on her skin color or her ethnicity or her culture. I obviously think it would be better if Disney just created more Black characters, original Black characters. I think there's a lot of wiggle room with having different races play other characters, as long as those characters' identities aren't wrapped around their culture. I know that A Little Mermaid is like a Danish folktale, but there's nothing about her character that screams, I'm from Denmark, or you know what I mean? It's like, it's not really about the culture or about those things. Whereas I saw people making commentary about like, well, imagine if we did a live action movie of Moana or Pocahontas and cast like a white person. And I'm like, first of all, do not do a live action of Pocahontas. No, the story's not good. Like, we can just leave that one in the past where it belongs. But Moana is a really, really wonderful movie. Both Moana and Pocahontas' identities revolve around their culture and their ethnicity. If you have a character whose identity is connected to their culture, their heritage, or their ethnicity, it's wrong to just swap out another ethnicity for them, because you want it as authentic as possible, because they are representing that culture. For Pocahontas, it's Native Americans. For Moana, it's, I know she comes from like a kind of like fantasy land or whatever, but it's based on Polynesians. If you're just swapping out that cultural significance with like a white person, it's wrong because you're lacking that representation that was meant to be in place there. Like they used to do this, it was called blackface. Like they used to literally take a Black character and put a white person in and just paint their face black and have them pretend to be the Black character. We can obviously see why that was wrong. We can obviously see why putting a white person in place of Pocahontas or Moana would be wrong. But putting a Black person as a fictional mermaid who is not connected really to any culture other than being a mermaid, which doesn't have a race, I don't see an issue in that. I think it's important to look inward and see why you might have issues with the adaptation. I think it's normal for humans to oppose change. We want to stick to the status quo. We want things to stay as they are or as we remember them. So naturally, it wasn't exactly surprising to me that people had an issue with a change in The Little Mermaid, because it wasn't going to be the exact same as they remembered from their childhood. But with change offers growth, and for things to possibly be even better than we remembered it. It's important to analyze our own feelings and biases when it comes to these kinds of things, because usually our first reaction, our initial reaction, is our biases. And then once you can filter through those and go, why do I think this? Or why am I having this reaction? Is it because I'm opposing change? Is it because I want things to kind of stay how they were? Is it because I actually have a problem with Ariel being Black? Is it because I have racist thought? I don't know, like whatever the fuck. Anyways, I thought one of the funniest commentaries that I saw personally was from Matt Walsh. And basically he was, I'll put the clip in here, but basically he was saying that scientifically it wouldn't even make sense for the Little Mermaid to be Black because she's at the bottom of the sea. And, you know, sea creatures who are at the bottom of the sea cannot be Black. And I'm like, scientifically, you are absolutely 100% incorrect. 100% incorrect.
If we all agreed that race in films and TV shows, especially fictional stories, don't matter, and we're going to take a kind of colorblind casting approach, and, you know, it doesn't matter as long as the actor is good. If we could all agree on that, then I'd be on board. And as I said, that's basically what it was for many years, what it was back in the 90s. But what I cannot abide by is the double standard thing where we say, well, the casting, the race in casting matters only for certain races and not for others. No, we're not doing that. Also, by the way, with The Little Mermaid, can we also just mention that just from a scientific perspective, okay, it doesn't make a lot of sense to have someone with darker skin who lives deep in the ocean. I mean, if anything, not only should the Little Mermaid be pale, she should actually be translucent. If you look at deep sea creatures, they're like translucent. They have no kind of pigmentation whatsoever. And they're just like these horrifying, they look like skeletons floating around in the ocean. That's what the Little Mermaid should look like. She should be totally pale and skeletal, where you can see her skull through her face. And that would actually be a version of Little Mermaid that I would watch. I
absolutely adore it. I actually hate it, but I adore when conservatives try to employ science or like logic to things that don't require science or logic. Like, I love when Ben Shapiro is always like, logically speaking. Well, if we look at it like logically, and I'm like, you don't need to apply logic here. This isn't a logical question. This isn't a logical argument. Like, they just say those things to kind of like trap you in like a mic drop moment, like a logic drop, a science drop moment. Like, here is why I'm actually correct and you're wrong because I'm employing science here. Scientifically speaking, a fish couldn't be black. So realistically, a fish couldn't be black, a crab can't be Jamaican, and an octopus can't be a drag queen who steals your voice at the bottom of the sea. Under the sea. Anyways, scientifically speaking, it's a fictional mermaid. Get over it. But actually, scientifically speaking, scientists, researchers have found many black fish at the bottom of the ocean that absorb like 99.9% of light or whatever, which means they are so black that they're like basically like a dark hole fish. So not only are they like black fish, they literally absorb 99.9% of light. So I think that makes them the blackest thing that ever existed. It's a fish that's really, really black. So the fact that you're saying scientifically a fish that lives at the bottom of the ocean can't be black, they're always white and translucent and whatever, is just fundamentally wrong. Like, you're just incorrect. You're scientifically incorrect. So that's, to me, that was just the funniest argument. Like, he really thought he had like a mic drop moment there. He was like, science bomb. No, dude, you just sound dumb. You just sound dumb. Also, he tries to make so many arguments about the double standard in media, which is basically that liberals or like left-wing people get so mad about, you know, a white woman playing an Asian woman, like with Emma Stone. I forget what movie it was. Which is like, again, like I was saying earlier, it's about representation. And when a character's identity revolves around their culture or their ethnicity or their race or their heritage, putting someone who's originally from that culture, race, ethnicity, heritage is incredibly important for representation. And as a leftist, I agree with that. I also agree that there are characters who can be any race, like the Little Mermaid, because her entire character doesn't revolve around her being Danish or white. Like, if we were making a movie about Martin Luther King Jr. and put a white guy in as him, that wouldn't make any sense because Martin Luther King Jr. was black and also was fighting for black rights. His whole character would revolve around his fight for black rights and him being black. So that character is completely intertwined with that identity. Let's say you had someone playing Rachel Green from Friends. Her character has nothing to do with her race or ethnicity or her culture or heritage. Her character doesn't revolve around that. It revolves around a bunch of other stuff, but it doesn't revolve around those things. So if, say, they did a reboot of it and made Rachel Green black, who would fucking care because her character doesn't revolve around those things? And saying that there's a double standard is taking away the nuance of like both sides, because one side is saying you want representation in roles that have significant cultural impact, and it's okay to have different cultures and stuff play roles that have always been white, because back in the day they were always white because people just wanted white people to whitewash everything. And so now that we're more diverse culturally, we're able to get actors from different backgrounds to play characters that were originally white. That is not reverse racism. That is not it's not a double standard if you just see it in a logical perspective, but it's just like they always want to make it a problem. They're like, see, well, you're logically inconsistent. If you just look at it logically, you're logically and also scientifically, it's not possible. It's if you actually had two brain cells to rub together, you would see why there's an issue and why both of them are not equivalent. Asking for characters of color to be played by actors of color and allowing a Little Mermaid from the bottom of the sea to have a different skin color than the original movie, not the same thing. Not the same thing, unfortunately. They're like, well, if you're using the same logic. I'm like, okay, logic isn't meant to be employed here, actually. Have you taken a class on logic? Logic actually doesn't even make sense half of the time, to be honest with you. You can have a logically consistent statement that doesn't make any sense in the real world. So anyways, I think any conservative who is throwing a hissy fit over The Little Mermaid, like if you disliked the trailer because the mermaid's black, I think you should really look inward and ask yourself why. And honestly, like, question yourself why. Is it because you're a racist? Because you might be. It's like a pretty good chance that you are. Because if that's the only issue, if your only issue with the Little Mermaid movie is that the skin color of the actress is black, I'm pretty sure you're racist. Like, I do understand the arguments about forced diversity and all those things that I discussed earlier, but it's like, if really your only problem is the fact that the Little Mermaid is black, I think, yeah, you need to reevaluate how you see race and how you form opinions. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say for this video. Did you guys like the trailer? Are you okay with the Little Mermaid being black? Like, I don't understand why any of us should give a shit, to be honest. I mean, are you really watching? I mean, I'm going to watch the movie, but are you going to really watch the movie? Like, half of these people that are talking shit about it, I'm like, are you even going to watch the movie? Like, why do you care so much? Seriously, never seen so many grown people be like, wow, this Disney princess that I never gave a shit about prior to this is a different race? Let me make a spiel about it. I'm not going to let my kids watch this movie. Like, anyways, I think that's all for this video. Thank you guys for being part of my world. Flipping your fins, you don't get too far. Legs are required for jumping, dancing, strolling along down the, what's that word again? Street. Up where they walk, up where they run, up where they stay all day in the sun. Wandering free, wish I could be part of that world. Did you like my Little Mermaid pun there? Did you like it? I knew you would. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe down below because you know I appreciate that so much. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Peace.